This is Two Guys Talking About with Kevin Kolbe and Bill Jordan.
Hey, welcome to Two Guys Talking About. I'm Kevin.
I'm Bill.
And we really appreciate you being here. Today's topic is a really special topic. We're talking about mamas. Because this Sunday is Mother's Day. Now, I don't know when you watch this, but Mother's Day is coming up in May. In fact, it's actually, what day is Mother's Day?
Sunday.
That's the safest bet. Oh, and by the way,
Well, you said day, not date.
well, that's true. Stay to the end of this. You don't want to miss it. Bill's actually going to do a special tribute to mothers. You used to do this on radio.
Yep.
Right? When
Yep.
you were on radio.
Yep.
So make sure you stay all the way to the end. But we're talking about moms. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we both had mothers.
Yep. I was born very close to her.
Do you remember anything about your birth? You know, some people will say they do. You've seen those stories, right?
Yeah, but I know I don't remember anything
Yeah,
about it.
I don't
No.
either.
I was reminded every year on my birthday about my birth and how I owed my mother a watermelon because she was supposed to get a watermelon or eat watermelon that night when she went into labor.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Was that kind of a guilt thing to get her a watermelon?
I don't know, but she got a watermelon every year.
We both have wives and we both have children, and then your daughter has a son. Well,
And daughter.
And daughter.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moms in our lives, and then grandmother and stuff like that. So we just thought with Mother's Day coming up, this would be really, really fun to talk about moms in our lives and things like that. Funny stories. My mother, so I have no brothers.
My mother.
My mother.
That sounds like a stand-up bit. My mother.
It almost sounded like a little Seinfeld thing there, didn't it? Yeah, my mother. Which sounded nothing like Seinfeld. So I have no brothers and sisters, which I used to always hold against my parents. Because again, and we may have addressed this in a
You're not
another
trying hard enough, Mom and Dad.
Well, no, that wasn't my point. Was I there was no brother or sister to go, what is wrong with them? I got nobody to share this. Like my mother, who's still living. My parents live in Nashville, Tennessee. They, however often I talk to my mom and dad, it's never enough. She'll always remind me it's been how long since we've talked. I think she actually journals and writes all this down. But
My mom used to do that. I'd go and see her, and on the calendar, she would
Yeah.
say, on whatever date Billy called.
And your mom passed away.
Yeah.
And that's where that you said you were wearing the white shirt.
I'm
for
wearing
that.
a white shirt for Mom today.
And I just decided to go happy for happy Mother's Day.
Well, that's right.
What's funny though about my mom though is that she was a little protective, still is, but even to this day when they call, it doesn't matter whether it's mom or dad, they'll always identify themselves. Hey, it's your mom. Yeah, it's your dad. I'm pretty sure I've got that down by now. And I've even explained, like, caller ID. Now, I may share some funny things because here's the thing. My parents don't have internet. So any of the friends that I'm connected with just show parts of this. So but my parents really don't get the whole social media thing. So my mom refers to it as the Facebook.
The Facebook, yep.
Which I've noticed that people that don't understand it put the.
Called the Facebook.
The YouTube.
The Twitter.
Yeah, the Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you ever twit somebody?
Sometimes I sure want to.
The funniest story I think that ever comes to mind is that, so I've been blessed with some good hair. Wouldn't you say?
I would say. What kind of question is that to ask me?
And we both looked at the top of each other's head, just in case you're listening to this on podcast.
That's a cruel question.
Sorry, I didn't mean. But anyway, God's doing a little grooming here. So several years ago, I was living in Nashville at the time. I go over to Mom and Dad's house, and Mom comes out and she hands me a paper bag. She goes, "Here, I got this for you." So what? So I open the bag, and it's a box of Rogaine. I'm like, what is this for? She goes, well, you're kind of getting a little thin up here. And I said, probably the only time I've said this to my mom, I said, what is wrong with you? I said, I would have like bush horns here if I used this. And she was like, well, I thought. And so I put it in a bag and I said, we'll never discuss this again.
My mom did a similar thing. They would come and stay at our house for Christmas. Thanksgiving, they'd go and visit my brother in Texas, but typically they'd spend Christmas with us. And my mom kind of had a knack for getting you something that you didn't know what to do with. Wrong size sweater, style that was totally not you. So I opened it up and I got the customary, tighty whities, underwear, right? White underwear. And I open it up. And it's like this. It's like, Mom, look at the packaging. This is size 44 waist. Who's going to wear these? And she says, well, Billy, your dad said that you're starting to get a little belly on you. Who's going to wear these?
Like you might grow into them.
Well, I might. At the rate I'm going, my mom used to do stuff like that. My mom would, she would, you get into high school, and you got the pimples and stuff. I could have a zit, right? Like right in the middle of my forehead.
Yeah.
Right? Just like a neon light. And my mom would say, now, Billy, if you would just smile, no one will pay attention to that nasty looking pimple in the middle of your forehead, your third eye. No one will see it if you just smile. Another one she did that I have fond memories of, and I don't share this with everyone. I was in the front yard of our house with some friends of mine, and they all wanted to go down to another friend's house, down to Gary's house or something. So getting ready to go down to Gary's house. So my mom came out on the front porch and said, no. Billy can't leave the yard. He just had a laxative.
Announced to everyone.
Yeah. I was like 27 years old at the time. And I was about 7. But I mean, this is burned into my head. That was my mom. That was my mom's. But I love my mom. My mom loved her family. There is no doubt about that. And we talk about, my daughter and just, hearing our grandson call her mom. I mean, that is a very special thing.
It's different, isn't it? I would imagine.
It's a very, very special thing.
Before I say something about that, I was going to share with something my mom, and I don't know if all moms do this or not, if your moms do this or did this, but it was almost like urban myth things. So like one of my moms is like, don't brush your hair too hard.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, because if you brush it too hard,
that must have been what happened to me.
Maybe it was that comb you
I was too zealous.
You overused the comb. That, hold your stomach in constantly. Just hold your stomach in because that'll make you thinner. Just silly things like that. But you know what? It was always meant with love.
Oh yeah.
And a big supporter. I mean, even when I was working in television, she didn't really sometimes understand exactly what I did, but she always supported it. In fact, the funny thing is, when I was even in radio, they would immediately listen to that radio station. When I went to work for a different television station, they would start watching that television station. And that's what parents do. So, yeah, great mom. My wife, we have 3 incredible kids. I say all the time, Lisa's her name. I love you. She works harder than I do any day of the week, which would be all the days.
Yeah. Another quick one about my mom, hearing you tell them that story. I used to, when I was, again, on the air, I would call my mom and do a bit called, Will My Mom Get It?
Did you really?
Yeah, and I take like 10th caller, to guess whether my mom will get the joke that I'm going to tell her or not. And the safe bet is no. You just say no, you win the T-shirt or whatever it was, right? So when I called my mom and say, hey, Mom, how you doing? Oh, hi, honey. Say, hey, I got a joke for you. Okay. Hey, Mom, did you hear about the restaurant on the moon? No, honey, I haven't heard about the restaurant on the moon. Great food, but no atmosphere. And my mom would say, well, then who would want to go there if it's no fun?
But moms are great. They work hard. And sometimes I think they're almost assumed that they get to do everything and that they've been done for this. I mean, it's a blessing. And it's something that I know I appreciate my mom, even though we're sharing funny stories. My grandmother, I even got to know. My wife, and I've got to meet Jessica a couple of times, and I can tell she's a great mom. So anyway, to moms out there, we get it that you really work hard, and you deserve everything you get.
Yep.
The good stuff. So anyway, we thought what would be really kind of cool is to end this with a tribute that Bill used to do on radio to moms.
Back in the old days of records and 45s and stuff, there was this one by a guy named Jimmy Dean. You perhaps know him by his sausage.
By the way, really good sausage.
Yeah, well, you can get the sage, you can get the
Spicy.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, he did this recording called I.O.U, and it's for moms, and it went, as we say, something like this. Many people look through their wallets or their purses, and they look down at the bottom past all the credit cards and stuff, and sometimes you'll find a little piece of dog-eared poetry. And I was cleaning out my wallet the other day, and I ran across a whole bunch of I.O.Us, some of them 35 years overdue. And the funny thing, all those I.O.Us are owed to one person, and I kind of felt like maybe now would be a pretty good time for an accounting. Mom, are you listening? Sweet lady, I owe you for so many things. A lot of services, like night watchman, for instance, lying awake nights, listening for coughs and cries and creaking floorboards, and me coming in too late. Boy, you had the eye of an eagle and the roar of a lion, but you always had a heart as big as the house. I owe you for services like short order cook, chef, baker, for making sirloin out of hamburger and turkey out of tuna fish, and big old strapping boys out of leftovers. I owe you for cleaning services, the daily scrubbing of face and ears, all work done by hand, and for the frequent dusting of a small boy's pants to try to make sure that I led a spotless life, and for washing and ironing that no laundry could ever do, for drying the tears of childhood and ironing out the problems of growing up. I owe you for services as a bodyguard, for protecting me from the terrors of thunderstorms and nightmares and too many green apples. And Lord knows I owe you for medical attention, for nursing me through measles and mumps and bruises and bumps, splinters, and spring fever. And let's not forget medical advice. Important things like, if you keep scratching it, it'll never get well. Don't cross your eyes like that, they'll stick. We've all heard that. And probably the most important advice of all, boy, make sure you've got on clean underwear in case you get in an accident. And I owe you for veterinarian services, for feeding every lost dog that I dragged home at the end of a rope, and for healing the pains of puppy love. And I owe you for entertainment that kept the household going through some pretty rough times, and for wonderful productions at Christmas, the 4th of July, and birthdays, and for making make-believe come true, and you did it all on such a limited budget. I owe you for construction work, for building kites and confidence, hopes and dreams, and somehow you made them all touch the sky, and for cementing together a family so that it would stand the worst kinds of shocks and blows, and for laying down a good, strong foundation to build a life on. I owe you for carrier charges, for carrying me on your books for the necessities of life that a growing boy somehow, well, you just got to have. Things like a pair of high-heeled sneakers or a little pocket on the side of the sneakers for a little pocket knife or something. And one thing, Mom, I'll never forget. When there were 2 pieces of pie and 3 hungry people, you were always the one who decided, well, I'm just not that hungry anyhow. These are just a few of the things for which payment is long overdue. The person that I owe them to worked very, very cheaply. She managed by simply doing without a lot of things that she needed herself. My IOUs add up to more than I could ever hope to repay. But you know the nicest thing about it all? That I know that she had marked the entire bill paid in full for just 1 kiss and 4 little words. Mom, I love you.
We appreciate you watching, and to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day.
This has been Two Guys Talking About with Kevin Kolbe and Bill Jordan. If you have an idea or comment, or you're interested in sponsoring the show, connect and find out more at twoguystalkingabout.com. Two Guys Talking About is produced by Kolbe Creative Media.